Hello, Carissa. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Wonderful, Elijah. Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Carissa, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Carissa, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest in yourself. And oftentimes I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Carissa, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, just recently, Carissa, I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Carissa. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Carissa that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And you see, getting to read a little bit about you, the beautiful stuff that you're doing, how you're offering your solutions, the impact your work is having, your insights, your philosophies, the stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, Carissa, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from those beautiful things Carissa is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Carissa. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much.
I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thank you for your such kind words.
Beautiful. Thank you too. Thank you too so very much. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Carissa, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Carissa, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Carissa on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Carissa, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Carissa got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Carissa, over to you.
Well, it's a roller coaster. Who I am today is the product of all the choices and the realizations and the level of honesty that I've been able to have with myself. I grew up in a small town in northern Alberta, Canada, and everybody around me, their dreams were small, and I had a desire deep in my heart to be a trailblazer, but that wasn't automatic. I grew up in a situation where I learned how to be compliant, and I didn't really know who I was. So I had to learn through error, not just trial, just error, of where I needed to grow. So I had been a young lady. I was a competitive dancer growing up. And when I left to go to university, I didn't really have good, healthy emotional intelligence. And I didn't know how to navigate the feelings that I was having in this big transition. So I ended up by turning to food and using that as my source of comfort when things got tough. And, when you're a 18-year-old young lady out in the world going to university, life can be very tough. So I found myself 60 pounds overweight and really unsure of who I was, didn't recognize myself. And I had to come face to face with the fact that I didn't know how to navigate my emotions. It wasn't a skill that my parents had. And so I had two choices. I could either continue on this path that was leading me down to a destructive lifestyle, or I could start learning things that I didn't know how to do. So I'm a very big trailblazer. So I started learning about self-development and learning about how to navigate emotions and even name them. And that was part of what started setting me free from that path of leading down into obesity. And as I got older and experienced life a little bit more, I didn't drink when I was younger. When I was 23 is when I started to drink. And that was kind of what I replaced food with. I had more intelligence about emotions. But then I wasn't going deep enough. I was still having root feelings that I really just didn't know what to do with. So then it took me getting a DUI to actually realize the universe was trying to tell me that I was not in alignment and that I really wasn't living up to my potential. And I was thankful that I did not hurt anybody. I just ended up by getting myself into enough trouble that I awakened myself to, what are you actually doing? This is not the life that I want to live. This is not the road that I want to go down. And so that's where I started to really dive deep in, what am I avoiding in my life? Why do I need to drink? What do I need to develop in myself? And what are my actions that got me here? Because in all of the circumstances I had been in, the common denominator was myself. So for me to sit there and not consider, what was I doing? How was I creating this to be how I was living? Because your choices yesterday create your today. So it was being willing to be honest with myself of where I was showing up and where I wasn't. Because at this point, I was a very successful massage therapist. I had an incredible practice. I had lived around the world in different places and set up practice there. So I knew professionally I was really applying my knowledge and learning to become a better professional and bring better things to my clients. But when it came to my personal life and my relationships with family and partners, that's where I was really falling short. I didn't really know who I was because I was so determined to get external validation by being that good person and being who I thought I should be, versus really diving deep into, what is my soul's purpose? What am I being called to? And why am I not following that? Right? So just really unraveling, but it took a lot of hitting roadblocks and stumbling, but not hitting the woe was me, like, oh, why is this happening to me? It's the, what am I doing to create this? And I know that's not everybody's go-to. For some reason, that's mine. That's my go-to. When something goes wrong, it's not like, oh, why is this happening to me? It's like, oh, what am I supposed to be learning? And so always taking that inquisitive look at things. And I think that's part of me being a trailblazer, is I don't look at it for what somebody else did. I look at first my part. How did I create this? Did I create this? And then figure out from there, how do I want to move forward? What do I want that to feel like, versus just allowing life to throw me around because I'm not working to create with what life is presenting me.
This is profound and inspiring, at the same time powerful. And I've got to say thank you so very much for sharing that with us. You see, you mentioned something that really stood out, and I got an inspiration immediately. You said that your choices yesterday, they create your today. And that's profound. In other words, your current situation is as a result of the decisions you've made, right?
Yes.
That's profound. And thank you so very much for sharing that. So, and you see, I also, had this experience that was about 2 years ago where I began to feel empty. I lacked clarity and I was so confused. I just didn't know why I was existing. So many of the questions you said you asked yourself, those were the questions that I asked myself too, and that led to my breakthrough. So I've got to say, you're an amazing person, and the fact that you're coming in podcast sharing your solution with others, it says a lot about who you are. So thank you for the beautiful stuff you're doing. So I've got some questions here. Are you ready for me?
Absolutely.
All right. So what does stronger than your excuses? What does that mean to you?
It means that the desire to create something better for yourself is bigger than any excuse that you could do to put it off, because there is no guarantee how much time we get. Nobody knows. We all have egg timers above our head counting our time down that we have no awareness. So, in order to create impact, because I believe every person on this earth is here to create impact, whether they know that or believe that is something different, but I truly believe we are all here on purpose. And so, to create your impact, you have to do it when you don't feel like it, because 99% of the time, you're not going to feel like it. You might be motivated to create in this moment, say it's on a Saturday, and then by Monday, that motivation is gone. So it's realizing that there's this idea of and. I have this goal and I don't feel like doing it. I'm going to do it anyhow, right? It's not just you always have to feel like doing it. It's knowing that you can still create either momentum or progress towards whatever it is that you actually truly desire to do in life or to bring to others, even though there's challenge, even though you don't feel like it, even though you're not motivated today. That's a separate thing. You can still carry forward. So that's being stronger than those excuses, because I think the excuses is that darkness that's keeping you from getting to that knowledge and to that light and creating something to bring to the world. So it's just really believing that the excuses are there to set you back instead of build you up.
The excuses are there to set you back instead of build you up. I got that. So what about this one? What are the keys to a happy marriage and relationship?
Communication
That's right.
and realizing that you have two people with two experiences coming together. So if you haven't worked on the things you've experienced in your previous relationships and you haven't defined for yourself, what does marriage look like for me? Right? It's all built on what you believe. If you don't have communication about those things, it's really hard to build a relationship that lasts, because we as people are meant to grow, and you have two individuals that have decided to come together, and we're going to grow at different rates and we have different experiences. So it's creating that space for those experiences to be brought to the surface and healed, not to be applied to this situation or to be, thrown out as this is how we operate. It's about coming together, healing the things that have happened before, and having open communication about how do you want to move forward together, about all the important things in life, all the questions that we don't want to talk about, because when you avoid that conflict at the beginning, you create more conflict later, because conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. If you have those hard conversations at the beginning, you're setting that foundation that you get to grow from and build on.
I got that. Communication, very, very essential. Okay, so let's talk about accountability. Why is accountability important?
Accountability is a superpower, in my opinion, right? It's owning those choices that you made and being accountable, not only for the good things. It's very easy to be accountable when you do the good things and get the accolades and the awards. But when you do something that you're either not proud of, you're embarrassed by, or it maybe didn't turn out the way that you wanted, being accountable for that choice in your life as well allows you to make change. Because if it was somebody else's fault, like I could sit here and blame my parents for not being emotionally intelligent and not teaching me that as a kid, but then I wouldn't be able to be here as I am today. By being accountable, okay, this is something I didn't learn. I can learn this. There are books about this, right? So it's being accountable for absolutely all of your choices in life, called radical accountability. That sets you free because you made those choices, which means you can make different ones. And you don't need anybody else's permission. You don't need anybody else to tell you what you need to do. It's one of those things that by being 100% accountable, you are allowing yourself to always know that you can go forward in life.
So true. That's very correct. I got that as well. So we have two more to go, okay? And thank you so very much for explaining those stuffs in such a way that it's quite easy to understand. Thank you. Okay, so what is the value of being able to be alone with yourself?
Being able to be alone with yourself creates it so that you have a home and a safe place, so that you're not outwardly looking for validation and approval from other people, because you are okay with who you are. Even when you're a work in progress, which here's the secret, we are all work in progress until the day we die, because that is part of our purpose.
So
We are
true.
meant to always constantly be evolving, right? So being able to be with yourself allows deeper connection, because you also can sit in quiet. And that pause and that quiet allows you to integrate all the things you've heard, the lessons you've had, and really get an understanding of who you are as a person. And when you understand that, the way that you move through life is more peaceful and intentional, because you're not looking for somebody to tell you who you are. You already know it. And it's about embodying that as you move through. And there's a lot of peace that comes from inner knowing.
Beautiful. I got that as well. Okay, so we have just one more to go. So, how can people take back their power in life?
Realizing that it's never outside of you. It's always inside. By you thinking that you are separate from your power, that's what keeps you feeling powerless. So realizing I am powerful because I make my own choices. And then being honest with yourself as to where the choices that you're making don't make you feel that good. And when you can be honest that, I made this choice and I didn't like that result, I can make a different choice. That's where you start taking your life back, because you are choosing to do something different because you're being honest that you don't actually like it.
Like it. Got that. So to bring this to an end, Carissa, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the beautiful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions or open your services or programs, how can that be possible?
Absolutely. So for those who want to reach out or have questions or want to connect, at Charissa Halonen on Instagram, or at the.relentlesscouple on Instagram. Send me a DM. I'm always happy to hear from people. And my advice that I always give people is make it small, make it micro, and celebrate every effort that you're making to make change. It is not the big grand things that you do. It is that choice to get up 15 minutes earlier this morning and celebrate it, because you did it. You made the decision and then you took the action. And then you keep repeating those things. And every time you do something that is 1 degree away from where you were and towards the way that you want to be, you celebrate it, because that celebration creates dopamine in your body. And that dopamine is a chemical in your brain that is a celebratory one. So that creates momentum, because that positive choice and you celebrating it makes your body want more of that. So by celebrating those little tiny things, after a year of doing that, you're going to be in an entirely different place that's incredibly positive.
I got that. And thank you for saying that, because You've just informed my perspective in that area. Thank you so very much. My empowerment coach. Thank you so very much, Carissa. So that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing those beautiful stuffs with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
I really appreciate the opportunity and the space you're creating. It's so needed.